This is how I deal with the average motivated employee. Now, after the first video for the low motivated employees, now this is about your average person. First of all, you have to find them, right? We talked about how to find the low performers. Now you have to find the average ones, which is much easier because the majority of your organization usually belongs into that pocket. And it's just simply by bell curve estimation. So these are the steps that I'm using. So they are not in order. So you have to explain your values. You have to explain the expectations. You can use situational leadership, rank them in terms of if they can grow, ask them if they want to grow and not, and move them into the right position. Now let's go through them one by one. First of all, you as the business owner, especially if you buy a new business, should explain your personal values, because people are looking for orientation, especially if they belong in that bracket. They want to know from you, what do you stand for? What do you like? What do you not like? Right? And it's very easy. We all have values. A lot of us don't know our core values, but you should be able to find them out rather quickly, especially if you ask a few of your friends how they would describe you. That will give you normally a pretty accurate picture. If not, then there's going to be a different story to talk about. So let's assume you know your core values for that. So you should explain those values, and you also should explain the values of the company as you see it. Now, if that's your business for many years, it might be easier, but you still might need some help on shaping that out. And that's not an issue at all. We all need some outside help from time to time. Now, if you buy the business, your values as the one that bought the business will collide with the values the business already has, because every business has values. Every team has values. They might not be written down, but they are somewhere agreed on. And very often that's unconscious. So if you buy a business and you ask different people what the values of the business are, they will all give you totally different answers. Because they are looking at it from their perspective. But this is one of the cornerstones, especially for people that are like the normal employees in your business, that don't want to grow, that don't want to put in crazy hours, that just want to do their job. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? Explain your values. That gives people orientation. And then the more you start acting on them, the consistency it brings in makes sure that they over the time actually will assimilate a little bit your values, and you will become predictable. And a lot of people say, I don't want to be predictable. But as a business owner, you want to be predictable, because what you don't want is that your employees do not know what your decision is going to be. Is it going to be on Monday A and then on Tuesday B? It should be the same decision. There should be a set frame, and then they should know that frame. And that's the second thing. You need to explain your expectations. What do you expect from people? Do you expect overtime? Do you expect flexible work? Do you allow flexible work? Do you expect people to work towards targets by themselves? When can they ask you questions? As all of these things seem to be pretty minor by themselves. But if they don't know you, especially when you buy a business or when you are new to a business or when you come in as a consultant, you have to clarify the expectations, because that gives people the chance to adjust to them. And that's what you want. So you want to explain them, let's say, that's the revenue per week that we have to hit. this is how we ship to customers. This is how we package. This is how we purchase. This is how we behave, right? Are you allowing swear words? Yes or no? Is that acceptable? Yes or no? So all these expectations, they have to come together. And then people have to adjust to those expectations. And they will adjust to those expectations. Now, one of the best things I've ever done, and I have to be forever grateful for my former employer for that, they sent me to a course that is called Situational Leadership. You can Google it. It's with that 2 words. You can find it. You can find graphics. You can find descriptions, and you probably can find a course to book it. But in simple terms, what it means is you adjust your leadership to the situation you are seeing. That's why it's called situational leadership. So when you do that, especially with your average employees, as it means you look at where they are and then you manage them depending on if they are good at their job, if they are senior at their job, if they are junior at the job, if you change their roles, you manage them a little bit more tight or a little bit more relaxed. And then you adjust that depending on their need. It sounds easier than it is, because very often still what a lot of leaders, a lot of managers struggle with is they lead how they want to be led. But not everybody is created equal. Some people want to be led like you. The majority of the people will not want to be led like you. It's just simple mathematics. Especially if you are a business owner or if you are buying businesses, you're usually a very high driven individual. That's why you embark on that route. That's why you do it. And not everybody in the business is going to be that type of personality, because otherwise they would own their own business. And there is nothing right or wrong with it. Now, if you are doing that with the situational leadership, you should rank them. And it sounds like, like the employee is only a statistic, but it's not. But you need to know at any given point of time who in your team can grow in what role. And then that is like intertwined with the second thing. You have to ask them if they want to grow. Do they even want more responsibility? Or are they just simply saying like, no, I'm fine. I just want to do that job and I want to come on time and I want to leave on time, do the occasional overtime. But in general, I just want to do that job, period. So is that the case? There's nothing wrong with it. Again, it's just simply you have to know it. But you also should know as like, okay, I have person A and person B. And person A could replace person B in case something happens. So you have to think about that, because things happen. People quit, they get sick, they retire, they whatever it is, they want to change maybe in their job. And so you have to be able, and you have to rank them and say like that person is the best fit for that job in case something happens to that person, or we want to change the organization, or whatever you want to do, or we grow and need another person. As you have to rank them. And you should do that right from the beginning, and you should adjust it. And it's nothing about making the employee a number. It's about stability in the business. And the other thing is, especially when you take a business over and you went through the initial phase and you learn how the business works and you start making changes, move those people in the right job where they can even grow. Do they have the right tools? Do they have the right training? Right? It's all the relevant questions you have to ask. But at the end, is maybe somebody that is in job A is from their personality structure better suited in job B. If they are very detail oriented, maybe you can move them into quality, and they will love that job because it's all about details. It's all about the procedures. It's like all the ISO certification, all the other certificates that you need. health and safety and whatever. You might want to have that person in there, but you might not want that person in HR, or you might not want that person in purchasing because it drives you crazy. So think about that. Move that person, and that might be the key in order then to create somebody that is actually becoming a high performer. And there are high performers that do not want to grow on the career ladder. And that's totally fine. They just want to do the best they can, and in the time they spend at the business, they want to flourish and they want a job they are satisfied with. And that's totally okay. So don't disregard average employees as bad employees. You need them because they are the ones that stay usually very long in a role, and they are comfortable, and they develop all the little skills that are needed in that role. And they develop a lot of the business skills. And a lot of the time, people that are very long with the business, even when you buy it and they don't have a lot of history with you, but with the business, you know you can rely on them. And that's a key component nowadays. So think about that, and don't miss part number 3. If you haven't watched part number 1, you definitely should go back and watch part number 1 on the low performing employees, and part number 3 is going to be on your high performers. Cheers, guys.